I just want to welcome you and say good morning because I believe this is mostly, people from North America and Europe. Uh, Thank you for joining us early in your day. My name is Vikram Kapoor. I work at Upgrad. I will be moderating the session today with our guest Roshan, who you may have seen on the poster. You may have read about his bio, but I'll be introducing him in a few minutes. While we wait, it would be great if you guys could, put in where you're joining in from, as well as how many years of experience you have, so we can tailor the questions, to your experience level in machine learning and artificial intelligence. So just in the chat box, you guys could put in, joining from XYZ and 7 or 8 years of experience in machine learning and AI, or how many other years you have. Or if you're totally new to the field, you could let us know about that as well. Perfect. We've got someone from Ghana, someone from Kenya. It's lovely to see you guys. Thank you for joining in. And from the UAE, nice. And there are people that are totally fresh, fresh from totally fresh from in the MLAI space. Fantastic. So I think Roshan is the right guy for you to speak with because he also came into the MLAI space from a non-IT background. Zimbabwe, Tunisia, Nigeria, Canada. Yeah. One more thing before we start, I would just like to say is that if you do have questions, and the benefit of this session is that you can ask Roshan all your questions. Do put in questions in the question and answer section, so we can we can go through them sequentially. But any questions you have, just add them to the Q&A and we will come to them. Fantastic. So Roshan, we have a lot of people from Ghana, from Iran, so a lot of people from the Middle East and Africa joining in. We have Canada as well, so North America is also represented, which is nice. Nigeria, Saudi Arabia. And it seems that mostly people joining in are new to AI ML. So a lot of wisdom for you to share. Got it. Fantastic. We'll just wait one more minute and we'll kick off. Perfect. Okay, we'll kick off now. So, good morning and good afternoon to everyone joining in. Thank you so much for taking out the time to join with us today. I'm really excited for this session. We had one of these in the morning for people from different regions, and it went really well. And hearing Roshan speak on machine learning and artificial intelligence, I learned a lot. So I hope you will too. So just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Vikram Kapoor. I work at Upgrad as a program manager. At Upgrad, we create programs, degrees, and diploma courses for working professionals to help you upskill, to get you to the next stage in your career, to build knowledge or to build knowledge. Whatever goals you're seeking is where we're here to help. Today, I'm joined by Roshan Valyathan. Roshan Valyathan has about 10 years of cumulative experience, as well as 5 years specifically in machine learning and artificial intelligence. He's worked in edtech, fintech, and consulting, and is currently working with an early stage startup in the wealth management space. His interests outside of his work include finance, investments, and trading. He also has a number of educational qualifications. So he has a financial risk management manager certificate. He's pursued a postgraduate in applied statistics, a postgraduate in financial management, and is currently pursuing his CFA level 2. With that, I just want to pass it over to Roshan if you want to add anything or if you want to share any fun facts about yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon from to all of you all. A quick fun fact is that I'm an undergraduate architect. So I was new to ML and AI. I was new to finance as well back 10 years ago. And I decided to make a switch in my career back then. Apart from, I just want to add a couple of things. So Vikram's introduction was on point, but I want to add I'm also pursuing a master's in thesis from Liverpool John Moores from Upgrad, apart from the CFA that I'm doing right now. And I am consulting with a wealth management firm where I try to implement machine learning techniques, etc., in the research space of wealth management. Prior to that, I worked in Singapore and other regions of APAC as well. Okay, where I was headquartered in Singapore working for a fintech, and before that, I worked in edtech as well. So that's a very quick introduction. So back to Vikram.
No, fantastic. Thank you so much. So, I mean, the goal of today's session is really to understand, what is MLAI, machine learning and artificial intelligence, why you should care and why you should, learn to use it in your current spaces or in your careers, what career opportunities are available with machine learning and artificial intelligence, and how you can actually gain access to them. So, just with that, I'd love to understand, Roshan, in simple terms, right, for people over here that have not come from a technical background, if you can explain what is machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Okay, so I'll take the analogy of a baby and an adult. Okay, so you know how human beings, we have intelligence embedded within ourselves, and when you keep feeding this intelligence, when you keep feeding data into human beings, we keep getting better. That is what machine learning is about. You feed intelligence, you feed a bit of data, and you learn. That's why it's called machine learning. It learns from data that's fed into it and then outputs something based on the patterns it finds in the data. Artificial intelligence is a lot bigger. Imagine your own brain when you start learning multiple things and then you're combining pieces of information together. When you put those pieces of information together, it becomes wisdom, right? And you implement. That's intelligence. That's called artificial intelligence. When machines start making decisions, start generating stuff, so that's intelligence. It's beyond learning. So it's after you learn, what do you do? That's intelligence.
Understood. And so, I mean, recently in the news, in 2023 specifically, machine learning and AI has become a lot more prevalent, right? It's trending almost. A lot of new companies you see come out with the dot AI. A lot of founders are going into the artificial intelligence spaces, and even established companies like Google and Microsoft are implementing, AI strategies. Why has it suddenly started trending? Is it a new field? Why is it so popular right now?
Something I want to clarify is that AI ML, it's not a new field at all. Research has been going on for years, but the reason it's become a hot topic this year is the level of inclusion that Gen AI has brought about. So with Gen AI, businesses are able to implement different tools and automate their processes and increase productivity across different departments. So this has led to the sudden boom or the sudden trend that you see. But AI and ML, the processes and improvement in efficiencies, can be attributed to better computing that's available today, better cloud systems that are available, lambdas on AWS, for example. So these have contributed to the spurt. So it's always been there. Gen AI has just contributed to the spurt because of inclusion.
And when you say Gen AI, could you talk a bit more about what is Gen AI as well?
Sure. So Gen AI, it's short for generative AI, right? So let's say you have an image and you want to let's say you want to type text. Like I type building in Nigeria, for example. Gen AI will be able to generate an image of a building in Nigeria. And then if you say building in Nigeria and add a few more keywords, it'll be able to combine different sources and generate an image. Similarly, it can generate text content. So if you want to write an email, okay, it's not that it's perfect, but if you want to automate the process of writing an email, it generates the email for you. So it's literally artificial intelligence on steroids, if you can say. It behaves like a human being.
Understood. And so, I mean, from generative AI, I think some of the main things that come up when we as users are utilizing, the internet, for example, the two are Chat GPT and Bard. Is it limited to Chat GPT and Bard, or is the generative AI bigger, a world bigger than this?
Generative AI is a world way bigger than this. So, just the competitor of Chat GPT, right? And you mentioned Bard. That's Google. So even Chat GPT has multiple versions. So these two are competing forces. Bard is trying to improve their intelligence systems. Chat GPT is trying to do the same. Uh, but there are different tools for image generation. For example, Midjourney and DALL-E, just two image generation tools. Copilot for those coders who want to generate code automatically and have it embedded into a GitHub system where there's a check. So that's there's something called GitHub Copilot. Similarly, you have Grammarly that has come up with language tools that help you generate emails, etc. So it's not at all restricted to just ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a very small part of the entire world of Gen AI.
Got it. Understood. So there's a lot more tools that, if we want to learn more about generative AI, there's a lot more to learn basically than Chat GPT and
There's a lot more. In fact, one of the companies that I spoke to recently, they use something called Cohere. Cohere is it improves it kind of automates operations. So things like sending out emails, memos, notices within the company internally and a few externally. So that's just one application. So it helps you automate your operations. So businesses are using that as well here.
Understood. No, so thank you. I think that's a really good introduction to machine learning, artificial intelligence, and generative AI. Um, Before we move into the section which talks about careers and what job opportunities are available, I think one question that I personally have is that technology changes, right? And every few years we hear about something new coming out that is trending and that is, hot at the moment. An example would be maybe be crypto, which came out a couple of years ago and became really hot for a while, and then maybe has fizzled out to some extent, though its technology blockchain holds validity. How do we know? And especially while we're deciding to take our careers in an artificial intelligence machine learning format or to learn something more about it, how do we know that AI ML is not a trend? Or
Okay.
do we know that it's not a trend?
Okay. So, firstly, I'll speak about cryptos. So, we live in a capitalistic world. So, wherever people see monetary gains, they're going to flock there. So, that's what happened with cryptos. There was a lot of speculative buying across the globe that kind of drove the prices of cryptocurrency up. And when people Google that, they then got brought down to the world of blockchain. And like you said, it does hold validity. The technology of blockchain is being used across the banking sector for verification, real estate, and so many more applications, right? But AI and ML, I wouldn't call it a trend. It's just developed to the extent where businesses can use it and solve real world problems right now. So imagine a business has an HR team, a marketing team, a sales team, an operations team, core team, and so on. AI is being used everywhere, both by non-IT folks and IT folks. So it's not just limited to people who know coding. Even the ones who don't know coding are getting integrated within the system and speaking the language of AI, thereby increasing the productivity when all these teams brainstorm. Imagine you have 5 departments interacting with each other using AI plus humans rather than just humans as it was before. So you had humans and tech. Now it's AI plus humans plus tech. So all three realms are coming together into one place.
So you've spoken about non-IT a little bit right now, right? And artificial intelligence. And from the chat, I can also see that a lot of people here do not come from IT backgrounds, or at least they don't come from an MLAI backgrounds. So how do people utilize, artificial intelligence from being in a non-IT background? How is it going to be useful to them in the future?
Okay, so I don't come from a non-IT background. Like I mentioned before, my bachelor's degree is in architecture, and then I moved to finance. So I didn't come from a technical background either. And there's always a fear of coding. How am I going to do this? So I'll answer this in two spectrums. So if someone who's not from the IT background wants to learn more about ML, they need to jump into learning tools like Python and the libraries associated with Python, like your pandas and everything that comes with it. Once they are thorough with that, they can go to the next stage, learning about ML ops, integrating it with the front end, back end, etc. So it takes time. It does take time and effort, but it's not something that cannot be done. Initially, the first few months are intimidating, and then once you get into it, it becomes very easy. It's almost like a flow. And with the tools that are available nowadays, it's very easy to learn these, especially with the master's program. So, for example, the reason I did a master's program was to take myself through a sequential way of learning what exists out there. Otherwise, if I start Googling, I don't know where to learn from. So that's it kind of helps you streamline and learn more, even whatever background you're from, because most master's programs are tailored to both non-IT and IT folks, right? And with just heading back to Gen AI, uh, the ones who learn the tools and leap forward. So if I know something in Gen AI and I can implement it in my workplace, it's obviously going to give me that advantage. And you don't need to know that much code. That's the best part about Gen AI. It's almost no code. You just need to know very little code to use Gen AI tools, because everything is done in the back end.
Got it. I can see some people are raising their hands in the attendee section. If you could add your questions in the chat box, or at the end of the session, we will allow you to unmute yourself and ask questions. So I mean, we will come back to you, or you can put your questions in the chat box or the question and answer section. So I think I missed asking you one thing earlier, Roshan, and you mentioned that architecture to MLAI. Why did you make the switch? What opportunities did you see, or why did you choose to go into the machine learning, artificial intelligence space?
So my passion, I have a very deep-rooted passion for investing and portfolio management. So 10 years ago, I kind of made the switch. So uh, it was only because I was very passionate about investing, right? So I wanted to learn more about machines and how they function within the investment domain, because I knew back then around 2015, 2016 that I need to become better at understanding how AI and ML function, so that by 2025, 26, or 27, when investment processes become even more automated, I don't get left behind, because it's going to be algos fighting algos very soon, algorithms fighting algorithms, right? Machines fighting machines.
Sure.
So I didn't want to be left behind in that race, which is how I picked up ML, and now I can talk the language.
Understood. Okay, so that's really interesting. So even though your passion is in finance or investing, right? Um, you chose to move into the AI ML space to actually make you better in that field, not specifically to transition to a technical role, but to actually be able to, like you said, talk the language and be able to when the AI ML technology permeates your industry of choice, you would be able to be relevant and remain relevant. So
Exactly. And what has organically happened is, once you learn AI ML, a lot of algorithms have applications across other sectors as well. So I could apply the same thing in fintech. So what I learned during the course, I could apply it at my workplace in a couple of projects as well. So that happened organically. It's not something, because that was fintech. It's not specifically investing, right? Fintech, I was in payables management. So, but I could implement certain systems there in credit card and fraud detections and things like that. So it's not that I learn AI for this, but life throws different things at you, and you don't know where you end up applying it in other domains as well.
no, totally fair, and I think like kudos to you for having taken the leap early. Um, so just moving into the career sector, what job opportunities are there available for people today looking to move into the artificial intelligence machine learning space, both in a technical capacity or in a non-technical capacity?
So, in a technical capacity, you have roles like ML engineer, ML ops, data scientist. I mean, I know data science is different, but someone who's done ML will be able to pick that up as well with a couple of other tools. So I'm just including that as well. So ML engineer, then you have ML support, you have ML in decision making, you have ML managers, ML project managers. So ML project managers are people who just understand the life cycle of a machine learning system. So let's say there are 10 machine learning engineers. I'm just giving an example. Uh, an ML project manager, his role is to understand how to take the project from 0 to 100%, just as any other project manager.
Sure.
He takes these 10 ML engineers and assigns different tasks, so that the final business problem is solved.
Hmm.
So there are different roles like this emerging. And another thing I want to mention is, when you're working with a company, if you want to implement a project, let's say you're working in the HR space and you learn something about Gen AI or ML, plain ML, you should be able to implement it in your workflow. So that kind of gives you an edge even in your own workspace. It's not that there are specific roles like ML in HR, like, yeah, it doesn't come out as transparently because the job roles are still evolving. But I've seen a lot of people scale up or get pay hikes because they've solved complex problems being in HR but learning ML and AI. So being in marketing and learning ML AI.
Got
So combining their subject expertise with ML AI.
got it. And the reason for that is they're able to automate tasks, be more efficient.
Yeah,
Got
yeah. See, I mean, take a copywriter for example, right? There's you folks can check this out as well. There's something called Copy AI. Copy AI, if you just type that in, a lot of content writers are using that now because it gives you copyrighted content and then you tweak it and put it up. But you're brainstorming, it's like you're brainstorming with the computer. So it shrinks your time, your creative energies into 1 hour, maybe instead of 3 hours. So you have 2 or more hours, right? So your output increases.
Got it. I'm making a note of Copy AI for my for our marketing team as well to check out. But no, that's great. Um, yeah, and I think the next question is that, okay, while the careers exist, right, and like you said, you can utilize them in technical roles, going into machine learning operations and machine learning project management, or alternatively, within your role in marketing, in HR, in finance, utilizing your knowledge of AI to kind of automate tasks and be more efficient and productive. How should someone get started? What roadmap would you write for them? Having gone through the experience yourself to actually become proficient in machine learning and artificial intelligence to
So
actually
what
get
what
this.
Awesome. So what I'd recommend is the path I followed is I used to read a lot. I used to read a lot of articles, books, etc. But that path kind of made it a little more scattered because I was working, right? So managing, I didn't know. I would come back and didn't. I wouldn't know where to read something from. So that's the reason I joined the master's program with Upgrad. So uh, the content there takes you through a sequential learning process which makes things easy. That's one way. So but of course if you're someone who's extremely motivated, you can take up side internships along with your job and do projects and scale up that way as well. So I've seen both these tracks for people who are just getting started. Either you do a course or you take up multiple projects on the side. The projects become a little more tricky because you'll have to go outside and someone has to be willing to offer you an internship, etc. Whereas masters helps you fast track stuff. So that's what it helps with.
One thing about internships versus a structured course that I want to understand is that, if I do an internship, let's say it might be locked in one field. So for example, I work at a health firm and I do machine learning artificial intelligence internship in the health firm, right? Would my skills be transferable to other fields, or is it that a course where I learn everything, and that is then applicable across fields? How does, I mean, just to understand that dichotomy a little bit.
A generalist course, what a program that is more general does is it gives you a broad umbrella of algorithms which you can apply to multiple fields.
Sure.
But you're absolutely right. An internship is going to be you're going to be solving specific problems for the business. So if it's in healthcare, you're hardly going to be doing anything related to investing,
Sure.
obviously. So that's absolutely right. So if you are very sure about being in healthcare, then you go and do an internship in healthcare and learn MI through that. But that means your applicability in investing will be a little less. Like, I mean, what you learn there might not be directly applicable, or you'll have to learn something more. Some of the skills are still transferable because the base of machine learning is statistics. So you can still transfer certain things, but not as much as a generalized program.
Got it. And like you mentioned, programs, internships, both are good ways to go about it. And I think then you mentioned that the base is statistics. So what are the baseline skills anyone on this call should be looking at to then go ahead and build in AI ML? So statistics being one of them. Are there other skills that you think that they should understand or try to develop to take these courses and be successful at them?
So I think, see, when I mention statistics, you don't have to go into the deep end of statistics. I understand that that's a completely different realm, right? Having done a postgrad in that, I do understand that to get to statistics depths, you need 1.5 to 2 years just to do that. But what I'm looking at is a functional knowledge of statistics. I want someone to understand what the algorithm is doing, not how it's doing, but at least know that this is the statistical input slash output. The process behind is available to learn, but it's not necessary. But you still have to know the statistics behind it, not the deep rooted theory.
Mhm.
Apart from that, Python, these are two basic requirements that help you sail through an ML course. When I say sail through, there are difficulties, but knowing these two at least will help you go through the course much faster.
Got it. No, I think that's super helpful. So I think everyone should note that down, guys. If you want to enter the machine learning AI field, statistics and Python are two basic skills that one should work on to succeed. One more interesting thing that you did mention is that you used to read a lot, right? And since there's so much new information coming out today in the machine learning AI space, I mean, what do you read? What did you read? What do you read? And what do you recommend people really read to understand more about, the trends, what's happening, different technologies?
So, very interestingly, 6 years ago, the amount of information that was available out there about MLAI was a little less. So, I used to read a few papers here and there from SSR and ResearchGate, etc., which I still do. I do that even today to learn and understand, and a few books, machine learning in Python. There were just, I can't recollect the authors, but there were a few books that I read. But today, there's a plethora of information. So, I follow LinkedIn quite a bit, and LinkedIn is a place where people post top 10 books to read or top 10 resources to read from, and then once you click, there's someone or the other speaking, including experts, right? They all have a LinkedIn profile, and once you jump onto that, you have multiple articles, etc., that automatically pop up and should allow you to explore more. So I would say research articles and LinkedIn are two of the sources that I use. But yeah, be careful because there's just way too much information. You can't consume it in. I mean, even two books take a while to read.
So on LinkedIn, you would go and find, I mean, how would you find the right people to follow up?
So
Just
one of my favorite writers is Chip Hewen. You can search for. She's in America. She's from Stanford, if I'm not wrong, and she wrote a book on ML ops. Right. So I connected with her, understood how she wrote, what went through her mind while writing the book. She herself posts, books that you should be reading, and then once you get that thread, you get other authors. Like there's a Stanford professor that I follow, another one. So Stanford is a hotbed for MLAI as well. So you have a lot of professors coming there. And then Alex Friedman, super popular in the deep learning space. So he's from MIT. So you have professors across all these colleges, universities constantly putting out content.
understood. So Chip Ewan, Alex Freeman, I think you mentioned
Friedman.
Friedman. Got it. Okay. Good for us. And let's say if I want to learn about machine learning AI applications in a specific field, how would I go about finding those experts on LinkedIn?
Okay, that gets a little trickier because within investments, the investment space, so there are keywords, right, on LinkedIn. When you search, you can search for specific professions like investment professions, investment data scientists. So you get top selling authors, for example, even time series. So if you say time series top people to connect with, you tend to get a list of folks that you can get across, and they connect with them and learn more.
Got it. Before I do continue, I do want to take a quick pause just to ask anyone in the audience if you have any questions, do put it in the chat box or in the Q&A section. This session is only beneficial, if all the questions you have, before you take a course or before you pursue machine learning AI further, if you ask the questions and get Roshan's opinion or his answers and wisdom on them. So if you do have questions, please use the chat box or the Q&A section. I will be opening up for questions in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So I think I will have a couple of more questions for you, Roshan. Um, you know, Machine learning and AI has developed a lot today. Where do you see it going in the future? What more is to be done in the field? Is there a lot more? What do you see happening in the next, couple of years, for example, and being interesting for our attendees to work on as problems?
So I think Gen AI is going to explode even more. I think it's just getting started, and the models they're tuning even more. So I think that space is going to explode. Another thing is I think businesses are going to integrate AI into them. It's already started. Like I shouldn't be saying they're going to integrate. They're going to integrate at a much faster pace, and AI is going to be like second language. So I think people are going to have to start understanding at least the basics of the language or the functionalities that AI and ML can provide, even when they enter a boardroom for brainstorming. it'll be great if you know that something can be automated, because your peers might actually know how to do that, and if they can get work done faster, they're a bigger asset than you are, right? That's how corporates work. So that's where I see it going forward.
And what are the biggest challenges that you see facing the field? Yeah, what challenges do you see facing the field that people like us will encounter?
One of the biggest challenges that I see is the ethics part of AI, because there are data privacy laws coming in. Different countries are going to adopt those standards, and we don't know what you are going to be able to train on going forward. So, what you're seeing in Gen AI now will have to be fine tuned to generate content in a much smarter manner, with probably little less availability of data based on the rules that governments come out with. Okay, and another challenge, the ethical challenge goes down to how do you differentiate fake content from real content? So that's post generation. So there are a lot of, and I think a law in AI will become a separate domain as well. I think there'll be lawyers specifically trained in AI coming up, etc. So this is a big challenge.
Understood. So the two main areas, one is the legal aspect, which is still
Yeah.
still evolving, and the second one is the ethical side, which is
Yes.
fake news, for example, that can be generated, or fake videos,
Yeah.
deep fake videos. Very interesting. Cool. I do see that we have some questions that have come in, so I'm just gonna run through those. I think the first one is from Daniel Oho, which is, can an aerospace engineer combine AI and ML together in their field of work?
Um, I remember a project in aerospace. I'm not able to recollect what it is, but I know that it's possible. I'm not an expert in the aerospace engineering field, but I definitely know that even aerospace engineers, I think we just landed on the moon today. So I'm sure they use the MLAI quite a bit, these scientists in ISRO, because when you speak to aerospace engineers, uh, they do. I'm pretty sure that it's being used extensively to optimize, because uh, I'll just quote from what I saw earlier in the day. Chandrayaan landed on the moon, right? So there, one of the I was watching that, and they actually mentioned that there are sensors that are capturing photographs and optimizing the photographs there. And I'm pretty sure that's using some form of artificial intelligence, because you're capturing images and then making them sharper, etc., using intelligence. So, and then that is definitely a component of AI. So I'm pretty sure it's being used, but I don't want to give an incomplete answer, because I'm not an aerospace engineer. So yeah.
Understood. I think on that, just for those attending that aren't aware, Chandrayaan is a space rover
Oh,
that
yeah,
was launched
sorry.
by India, and has been landed on the moon today. Roshan is talking about, that
The Mars
definitely AI
mission.
ML has impact on aerospace engineering based on the launch, and it's used in the cameras on the rover to capture the images and clean up the images actually. Improve their pixelation. Perfect. No, that's super helpful.
Thanks, Vikram. Sorry, I didn't
No
mention
worries.
that. I
No
should have.
worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can understand. Yeah. The next question is from Joshua Adiele, which is, this is a very important course for me. Please share what are the system specifications that can enable the Python programming for MLAI. Is there any textbook or manual that I can follow for a guide? So, Roshan, having taken the machine learning and artificial intelligence program from Liverpool John Moores University, an upgrad, what system specifications are required? Would you know that if there's a specific type of laptop that someone would need, or any kind of specific hardware someone would require?
Absolutely nothing. I think you just need a basic laptop that can run any browser. Okay. So once you have that, everything is run on cloud. So if you have Google Colab, so Google Colab, just for everyone, it's a platform where you can code Python directly in Google, and the processing is done at the back end of Google. Similarly, Upgrade themselves have Python embedded environment. So I didn't. You just need a laptop. That's it. I've worked on second-hand laptops as well uh, during the course when I had to finish my assignments, etc., and didn't have access to mine. So don't worry about technology. As long as you have access to a basic laptop, you are good to go.
It's fantastic. One piece of advice I also have for you, Joshua, is that if you do need more information on the exact specifications, the Wi-Fi speed, for example, or any type RAM or system capabilities, my colleague Siddhi will be putting up the links to the upgrade courses shortly. When she does do that, if you go and just drop your details on the web page, an admissions counselor will reach out to you and they can help you with exact specifications in case there are any doubts on system specifications that you have. The next question from Joshua again is, can ML AI be applied in a pervasive computing environment? If yes, how?
Uh, Again, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be able to answer this completely, so I'll let this particular bit pass. But
Okay.
I again know that it's being applied, but a pervasive fields are not my domain of expertise. So I'm so sorry about that.
No worries at all. But Joshua, what we will do is we will come back and try to get you an answer to that over email or with your admissions counselor again. Um, the next question is, can C programming language be used for machine learning?
Yeah. So C program can be used for machine learning. Okay, there are C++ is being used in machine learning, but the libraries are much more difficult to learn. I myself haven't learned C++ for machine learning. I use Python, but it can definitely be used because Python itself is written on C. So the backend is C. So you can use C, but it's not recommended for a program at least. And for most companies, it's still Python because the packages and deployment is done in Python.
Got it. So C++ is an option for people that are interested.
It is.
However, Python is probably the stronger if you are
It is.
entering new, yeah. Someone has asked, is it possible to implement Python in PHP? I don't know what PHP
Uh,
is. I hope you do. Yeah.
PHP, yeah. So Python, not directly. Just to give a short answer, you will have to do that indirectly. There has to be API calls between the two. As in PHP has to call a particular module of Python. You can't embed it. I think I've run into problems with that once. So,
Understood. Got it. We have a question on how does someone interested in virtual internship opportunity can get such an opportunity? If it's okay with you, I can take this, Roshan, really quickly. So,
absolutely, of course.
Upgrad does have a virtual internship program in which you can select the domain of choice, right? So we offer options from finance to marketing to machine learning and artificial intelligence. So if you are looking to do an internship in a virtual internship in machine learning and artificial intelligence, you can go and sign up for the virtual internship opportunities and select machine learning and artificial intelligence as your domain of choice. When you do that, you will be paired with a company globally. It may not be in your own country, but it will be paired with a company that has a requirement of an intern in machine learning and artificial intelligence. These opportunity It will be that English will be the spoken language, or your language of preference is what we will try to match you with. Additionally, it will be something convenient to your time zone, so you are able to attend meetings, but you are also able to do projects that you can do on your own time, so you don't have to spend a full day of work to make it virtual and flexible. So if you are interested in machine learning and artificial intelligence internships, do go to the Upgrad website and you can sign up for a virtual internship over there. And there are a lot of questions coming in now, I'm seeing, so that's good to know. um, from, I can't see the full name here, but what is the best way to, what's the perfect learning process, or how would you recommend the best learning process possible?
Yeah, I think the best possible is what I'll answer. There's no perfect learning process, but what I've learned from experience is doing as many projects as you can and taking it through a streamlined manner, like learning the basics first and then going to the advanced topics. Like I said, in a master's program or in a postgraduate program, helps you go through those sequences, and that's what I faced with Upgrad. And I'm not, I mean, uh, I'm grateful that it could take me through that particular sequence of steps. And I wouldn't say there's nothing called perfect learning process. It worked for me. And I think that was exactly what I needed because it took me from the basics right up to the a capstone project and then a thesis. So that helped me do a lot of projects and learn along the way. Of course, like I mentioned before, if you're someone who is hyper independent and you want to learn yourself, There are books available, abundant resources, but you might scatter everything, and that becomes a problem because you don't know where to start from. You might go to the hardest topic without realizing that that's actually very hard, then jump to some other topic. Then you'll, it's more chaotic, the process. I wanted it to be more linear because I couldn't afford to waste time because I was working. I couldn't just be like, let me take this book and read it today, then do something else the next day, and then in the end I have not learned anything. So that's the reason I picked this learning process or pathway.
So I think, adding to what Roshan just mentioned, as he said, it worked for him. But when looking at a program from Roshan's experience, getting a baseline in Python and statistics, as I think you mentioned earlier, and then doing a sequential or structured learning program can be helpful. So if you're looking at any programs, do look at the sequential nature of the content. I love you. Okay, so from Joshua, we have I love using Python programs, but if I want to write codes to develop a game, I always have some challenges like failure in installing Games and so on. Uh, I don't know if that's a question, but Joshua. But I think he adds on. I really want to learn more and get grounded in ML AI. How do I get better on it, please?
So I'll take this.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so ML and AI. So going back to the previous answer itself, so chalk out a pathway how you want to get better. For example, games. That's a deployment issue. I think like I spoke about the whole ML stack, right? ML ops, combining it with your main games, etc. That should help you get better. But more than anything, chalk out a program over the next 2 years. How do you want to get better? Do you want to indulge in a thesis? Do you want to get better at research? Do you want to do multiple projects in a sequential manner? Do you want to work somewhere? So chalking out that path will really help you reach your end goal. And that's my biggest advice. I think there's too much content out there, and if you start learning yourself, you might be all over the place. So chalk out a path and follow that.
There is one question from Taima, which is what is the algorithm that will improve the image quality and more precision on Python, or what is the library? And thank you for checking. Would you have the
So
exact library available? Yeah.
the exact library, yeah. So basically, you have convolutional neural networks. So you can just type CNN image rectification or image recognition task. So post that, there's a correction algorithm also that can be applied to images using the same CNN filters, etc. So just check CNN, and you should be able to find image rectification, image generation, etc. Image generation has a little more, but you can check GAN as well for that.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think this is the last question that I can see. Can I use AI and ML to create a website? And can AI web development be integrated together?
Yes, actually, I was just looking at a. I'm not getting the name of the tool, but you can automate the entire creation of a website as well. So it's paid right now, but there are website generators available where you can integrate your code into it as well, along with what they give to you.
Perfect. I think those are all the questions. Before we end the session, I just want to share a bit about the programs at Upgrad that are available to help you in your journey, towards becoming proficient in AI and ML. So currently at Upgrad, we have three pillar programs, right, that help you achieve your goal to become an AI ML expert. The first one is an advanced certificate program in generative AI. The next one is the diploma program in machine learning and artificial intelligence, and the third one is the master of science in machine learning and artificial intelligence, which Roshan is an alumni of, right? So just to talk a bit about the advanced certificate program in generative AI, um, as we spoke about, generative AI is a technology that can be interacted with through natural language. So you can type in text, or you can speak to it, and it will actually generate text, imagery, videos, photo, or other synthetic data that you require. Um, while we think that AI is chat gpt and bard, that is a very very small part of it. So you can see that there are different tools for text, audio, video, chatbots, code, ML platforms. I think we had a question on gaming. So there are a plethora of generative AI tools available to you, right? Why do we believe that the generative AI program is important? This is also specialization in our master's program or our executive postgraduate programs. It's because AI tools reduce money and time needed for numerous tasks, right? It improves productivity and profitability. By 2025, generative AI will be producing 10% of all data globally. By 2025, generative AI will be used by 50% of drug discovery and development initiatives. If you're in the health space, that's interesting. And by 2027, 30% of manufacturers will use generative AI to enhance their product development effectiveness. So AI is, really, permeating. And my colleague has, put the link for this program in the chat box. If you'd like to look at the curriculum, I do recommend that, you go there. This program specifically is a 4 month program that is very project focused. So not only will you learn how to utilize tools in generative AI, but you'll also learn how to build tools in generative AI. So certain tools that certain projects that you'll be going through are Create Interview Genie, a conversational interview bot that conducts interviews and evaluates candidates and gives feedback. There's Pixelcraft, which will enable fast track digitization for offline e-commerce businesses by generating high quality images for large product portfolios. So, if you have an e-commerce platform and you need images for 100 items, Pixelcraft can help you actually create those. There's Shrewd News AI, which can automate news recommendations. Mr. Helpmate, which will be an advanced chatbot to help you with your needs and access data of the company so that it can provide the best suggestions. There's Semantic Spotter, which is like Mr. Helpmate, but on steroids, as it says. It utilizes an expansive data source, so a large data source, let's say like Amazon, right, to actually provide information and feedback and help customers make decisions, as well as the last project which will work on scaling these products, right? How do you scale an AI product? So some of the tools utilized are on the left side, which if I just move this, and and just to kind of talk about some of the languages that are used in this program, there is Python, Flask, Excel, Pandas, NLTK, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Dolly, Midjourney, and Hugging Face. So you will, through this 4 month program, get a wide variety of skill. And should you wish to go further in your educational journey of in generative AI, or more specifically machine learning and artificial intelligence, you could choose to go for a diploma program or a master's program. And with that, my last question for you, Roshan, is that you are currently pursuing the master's program in your thesis phase, almost done. So, I mean, what is the benefit of doing a master's, a degree really in this program? Sorry, let me just stop sharing. Sorry, yeah. What is the benefit of doing a degree in this space, and how is the thesis going to help you really achieve your next opportunities? Yeah.
So my thesis is I'll answer the first question. Sorry. So a master's program, what it does is it gives you more recognition, right? Like I've done a master's in science, so it's much better to say that than say I've I've done a certificate versus I've done a master's. So that's the reason I went in for a master's, because the certificate gives you the skills, of course. The master's gives you more credibility in terms of you publishing a research paper. So my research is again in the space of finance. It's in valuation, financial valuation. The paper should be out in another 4 months, right? So 3 months, sorry. So the research really helps you streamline your thought processes. And I mean, what I did was I literally took up a project that I can implement at work. So it just serves two purposes. It's a research, it's original work, and you can implement it at your work. You're benefiting, the community benefits as well. So that's the reason I picked the masters.
Understood. And if you could just talk about a bit more about the learning, format of the programs. Is it live, recorded? Is it flexible enough for you? What did you find difficult? If you could just talk a little more about that.
Awesome. So uh, I mean, I was a working professional, and I had very long hours last year. So I couldn't, I mean, I wanted a hybrid program firstly. I didn't want a completely live program, because then I'd have to attend every single day. I can't attend it at my own time. So it didn't make sense for me as a working professional. So a hybrid program sits, or rather sat well with me, because I get the chance to watch videos whenever I want to, complete the quizzes whenever I want to, and even exam slots are flexible. Like you have a couple of exam slots that you can pick from. So you really don't have to tamper your work schedule. At the same time, there are live sessions cropping up, a couple of times a week or at least once a week. So that gives me the balance that I needed, because I can complete my assignments, I could interact with peers. So it became more holistic in terms of an experience, in terms of what I was looking for. uh, I really didn't have the time to imagine doing a live course 6 hours on campus or 6 hours sitting in front of a lecture every other day. It's
Sure.
not possible with work, so that's why I picked a hybrid program. It works.
No, perfect. Roshan, I want to thank you so much for being here. Before I just end, I just want to say that, um, I do hope that, this has been a helpful session. If you guys do have more questions, please do put them in the chat box or the Q&A, or the Q&A section. Um, you know, if we would love to have you learn in our in our machine learning and AI programs. And, should you need any help or have any questions, the links are in the chat. We also do have, a referral program. So if there is someone that is interested to learn and you would like to refer them in, we do provide, incentives, referral incentives that can be utilized as fee waivers or scholarships towards future learning. Additionally, we do have a B2B wing as well. And the B2B wing, if you have anyone, if you work at a company and would have anyone interested in, pursuing, courses for people in the workforce, we'll be happy to discuss with them as well. Lastly, for attending this webinar, do let your counselor know that you attended the masterclass, and there are, scholarships and fee waivers available for those of you that have taken the time out to join us today. So thank you for that. I think there is one last question, Roshan, before I let you go, and it is, what is the pay looking like for those that know ML, machine learning?
So, it depends on the geography you're in. So, I just use a dollar value. So, if in the US, data scientists earn anywhere up north, upwards of $120,000 an annum, and it even goes up to ML engineers get up to ridiculous packages, 450, half a million, etc., depending on your experience. So that's the range.
Got it. Perfect. Sorry, one last question has come in as well. What is the future of AI in academic research and publications?
Oh, that's a very good question. So I think if you're looking to go down that route, I think there's so much scope for AI. It's just started. So the basically the base work has already been done in AI and ML, right? People have worked really hard over the years, over the past 40, 50 years, to reach this phase that we are in ML and AI. Now it's all about combinations, permutations and combinations, combining multiple algorithms, uh, improving efficiency. So the research scope is incredible. You can be domain specific, you can be ML ops specific, you can be AI specific. So there's a plethora of topics that you can pick from this. Huge.
Perfect. No, thank you so much for your time, Roshan. It's been super informative. It's been a great session. We hope to see you again very soon for more sessions like these. And best of luck, with your new, with your consulting and
Thank you so much.
with your thesis publication. Um,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
we will be staying back for 5 minutes. In case anyone has other questions, Roshan, you can drop off now. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. See ya.
Perfect. Oh, Joshua, I see that you have added a question right now that that Roshan has just dropped off. What I will ask is, I will ask him to get back to you with an answer to this question. If anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask, you can unmute at this point and ask any questions. You can put them in the chat box. Um, um, yeah. So, Collins, you're from Africa, Nigeria, precisely. How can I get a scholarship to do masters in machine learning and artificial intelligence? Reach out to Upgrad. They have we have a number of courses in the machine learning and artificial spaces, and many of them have fee waivers and scholarships available. So, again, the links are in the chat. Just drop your details, and someone will reach out to you tomorrow itself. To help you with any scholarship or fee waivers opportunity, as well as flexible payment plans. To make it more affordable and accessible to you. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. If there are any other questions, would be happy to answer them now.
Vic, hi. Just to mention, can you just elaborate a little more about the duration of the Gen AI program?
Sure.
Because it's a shorter duration course and we've not mentioned it yet.
Yeah, sure. So the generative AI program that we discussed today is a 4 month program. So it's incredibly short. There are fee waivers and scholarships to quite an extent available on the program as well. And like I mentioned, it's very project based. So while you are learning the theory on one side, application and actually being able to build and utilize AI tools, on your own is the end goal of those programs. So whether you're a technical individual or a non-technical individual looking to actually, um, you know, either interact with tools or build tools. The program is there for both sets of people. And obviously, if you're looking to get deeper into it, you can continue into the diploma, which is a 1 year program, or the master's, which is an 18-month program. So, for a master's and for a diploma, all incredibly short and all incredibly affordable as well. Cool. Since I
Thanks.
don't see any more questions coming in, I will end the session. Thank you so much for taking time out, in your mornings or afternoons. And, please reach out to anna.wong@upgrad.com if you have any other questions. Or, oh, sorry, I can see someone has raised their hand. So I'm just going to allow Joshua to talk. Hi, Joshua. Yeah, if you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, good evening from Nigeria here.
Hi, Joshua. How are you? Thank you for
I'm
joining.
fine. Thank you, sir. I'm really, really interested and I really appreciate this discussion. It's very, very important to me. That's why I've been asking questions and I've been raising my hand.
Sure.
Yeah, the area I really need to understand more is on the aspect of how I can use the AI on a website, because I do host a website and I want to include an AI in a manner that it will be able to inspect and direct what people do at the front end while I will look at it at the back end. So I really want to understand how I can implement AI in that aspect.
Understood. So, very good question, Joshua. And actually, in our earlier session today, Roshan was talking about one simple feature, right? Which is, let's say, chatbots, right? So, chatbots sometimes are horrible. You have a horrible experience with them, right? Especially sometimes when you look at customer service for airlines, sometimes you're on hold for hours, right? And sometimes people are not able to provide the right information, or with the limited responses you can input into a chatbot, you are not able to a customer coming in looking to purchase something or learn more is unable to do so because of the limited responses you can put into a chatbot. Today, chatbots with machine learning and artificial intelligence and generative AI capabilities are able to actually use the data at the back end and answer questions more precisely, right? And so I think that is just one simple feature to illustrate how it can help you on your website. You could have an AI enabled chatbot or build an AI enabled chatbot actually versus purchasing one that actually has access to the wealth of knowledge in your inventory system, have a wealth of knowledge on your website or your company's business services. And so when someone asks a very specific question, the AI knows how to take the data that it has about the inventory, about the availability, and answer. So, I mean, chatbots are just one example. There are plenty of them, and the admissions team will be able to give you more information. We can also have you connect with some other AI experts that could help you understand how websites can be built better. Does that answer your question, or is there anything further that you'd like to ask?
Okay, that's all right. Thank you so much. Then the last one that I want to ask is, currently, I'm working on a research on pervasive computing environments. So
Okay.
that was why I was asking the question, if there is any way ML and AI can assist in the aspect of my research in a pervasive computing environment. Because actually I'm working on how events or information are being disseminated on a pervasive computing environment. So I'm asking if there is any way ML AI can assist in that regard.
A great question. I'm not a pervasive computing expert, but what I can tell you is this, right? Because you mentioned you're doing research on the field. If you do pursue the masters in machine learning and artificial intelligence, 6 months of the program is a thesis, right? In which, for example, you can pick your domain to write about and to solve a problem about. So you could actually, I mean, if there is knowledge in this, we will look it up and we'll try to send it to you, right? Or when you're talking to the admissions counselor and you speak with someone who's an expert in MLAI, they can help you understand more about pervasive computing and machine learning and artificial intelligence. But let's say, for example, it does not exist, or let's say, for example, there are issues with it. You could actually use this program to research and solve and actually put your research out in the public domain on pervasive computing and machine learning and artificial intelligence. So you could analyze problems, its use cases, its applications, and then that doesn't only benefit you because you build your understanding about it, but it also benefits the public as a whole because that knowledge that you've created will go into the pervasive computing domain and people can cite it, people can read it and build an understanding. But on the whole, I will look into that and come back to you on this.
Right, I'm very much satisfied. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you, Joshua. Sylvester and Daniel, uh, how do you get the scholarships? Again, reach out to the links in the chat box, right? We will also be sending an email out tomorrow with the links and have our admissions counselors call you and send you emails, and they will help you with the processes on accessing the scholarships, enrolling in the courses. Perfect. Great. If there are no other questions, we'll end the session now. Thank you so much for joining again, guys. Hope it was helpful, and we hope you'll be at the next sessions as well that we hold. We plan to hold many more on machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vic. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.